Oh my god.
The survival of the earth.
This reminds me of the AMVs.
The big thing was,
Oh my. Don't even get me started on the games, boy. If we talk about the games, boy, don't talk about the games, boy. Why was Raditz always annoying to fight, bro? You know who Goku was? I said, how much this go? Oh, 25. I said, Mom, give me a quarter. And this is so crazy. If this game came out today, we seen what would happen if this game came out today. It's called Sparking Zero, and y'all ruined it. Dragon Ball Z was unreal in the 2000s.
throughout time, man has created and discovered things that have pushed us beyond our limits. And in other times, well, I don't know what the hell was going on. But nothing has come close.
Boy, if you watch Dragon Ball Evolution, boy, you might be cursed to this day. That might be what's affecting this generation so badly. No cap, just watching Dragon Ball Evolution, I swear to you.
To living in the early 2000s and experiencing Dragon Ball Z in Toonami.
Rest of Dragon Ball, though, straight gas. Well, let me not say the rest of Dragon Ball, like, because that would encapsulate the whole franchise of every single thing. I didn't watch Super till I'm gonna watch the remake. I didn't watch Daima. I'm not going to either. That whole looks goofy. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but a little, you know what I'm saying? But this was definitely peak Dragon Ball. He about to explain.
Yeah, no, it's that serious, guys. I'm not joking. I mean, heck, for me, it was used as a discipline tool. I didn't do my homework, and my parents basically turned on Toonami, and Dragon Ball Z was playing. And you know what they did to me? Well, as I was sobbing my eyes trying to do my homework, trying to figure out a simple math question, they put up the volume really high, and they had my back turned, and I could not watch what was happening with Majin Vegeta.
Ooh!
Yeah,
that's low-key torture. That's low-key torture. For Dragon Ball? Brother, it's straight hands. It's straight bangers. I'm not trying to listen only. Are you crazy?
Sucked. But hey, I did pass that test. And it all started with Toonami, which was a special time slot that would appear in Cartoon Network when it hit a certain time, similar to how, you know, now Cartoon Network would do.
I'm breezing through that
essay. One of the cool things about Toonami was that you would have this character named Tom. He would basically be, well, your host in a sense, and he would narrate you through certain things. They would also play some really cool little, like, episode specials of Tom trying to escape, like, some aliens that are invading a ship and stuff.
Toonami was so fire, bro.
Throughout the years. It was really dang cool. But with that, he would also give us some really awesome life lessons.
Keep your head up. Keep doing what works for you. And don't be afraid to listen to your critics. But always, always ignore the haters.
Yeah!
Deserve better.
Yeah!
But around 5 p.m., that's when Dragon Ball Z aired, and that will be also accompanied by Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, narrating some certain moments. And let me just tell you, he would go so.
Not gonna lie, I would have to catch it on the rebap, on the rebap when it was late. You know what I'm saying?
Intense and like so badass. Like those ads in Toonami would be just much more serious than they really had to be.
The final countdown is here.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The survival of the earth.
This reminds me of the AMVs. Bro, you know about the AMVs, you know about the AMVs. Boy,
You know, it was a time that you really didn't know what was going to happen next. I mean, there was the manga, but in that 2000s era, a lot of us really weren't really exposed to that. I mean, we would have to wait months to get to a new arc. I mean, I remember, I think I was in the 2nd grade when Toonami started airing Dragon Ball Z, and it didn't really end until I was around the 4th grade. The show would basically air from Monday through Thursday because around Friday time, Cartoon Network had Cartoon Fridays, which is when they would show their versions of new episodes for a lot of shows that were coming up, like Ed and Eddie.
If you was a real one, though, you was sniping it on the tube, though. If you was a real one, you was able to snipe it on the tube from 13 different random channels that all had 7 different spans of episodes randomly before they got clapped.
Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, and just so many more. And the best part of it was going to school the next day after watching a brand new episode. I remember when Goku was about to turn Super Saiyan 3 as a kid, and we didn't know how it was going to look like. I honestly never thought it was going to be long hair. And when we all saw that transformation, it was just wild. Like, I remember, to me, it's still my favorite transformation of all of Dragon Ball. And then
you I think I had a conversation with my friends about this not too long ago. What's your favorite transformation? For me, people might not even call it a transformation, but for me, it's something about Kaioken, bro. Kaioken goes I'm not talking about that Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, whatever they got going on in Super. I don't know nothing about that. What I'm talking about, that old ski. Oh my god, how it clear. Yo, bro, Kaioken is so tough. Hold on, bro. Yes. 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 These right here, boy. These right here, boy. Oh my goodness. Bro, I just love the aesthetic. This is like a more Sparking Zero. I love the aesthetic of OG Saiyan Saga Goku, bro. This ain't really even it either. It's like a remastered version, but I'm talking about where he's stupid swole. He just built like that though. So he just flex. Oh my god, that Goku, bro. I love that Goku, bro.
Would have kids powering up and recreating fights. I mean, that was just so awesome, man. There would be times that you have Dragon Ball cards and you're trading them, and not only that, a lot of kids would have action figures. I remember kids would.
Oh my god, boy! I had the Goku, bro. You know, bro. Oh my god, I got it at a garage sale of all places. Sniped him. They said Goku's in here. 25 cents. She didn't know who Goku was. It was an older lady. She didn't know who Goku was. I said, how much this go? Oh, 25 cents. I said, Mom, give me a quarter. I said, oh my god, it was one of the Gokus. He was base Goku. You could move all the joints on him, make him do whatever. Those was the best toys. The Spider-Man joints and the anime joints. Really, the Dragon Ball joints. I ain't had no other anime joints for real outside of Dragon Ball, the toys. But bro, the Spider-Man and the Dragon Ball joints where you can move all the limbs and make him do a I swear to God.
Be showing them off. Oh, look at this one. Look how rare this is. It was some legit stuff, like some American Psycho stuff. Because you would be looking at a kid that had a really rare figure, and you're like, you would almost turn into Patrick Bateman in a sense. You're looking over at this random kid named Dylan. You're like, oh my god, I cannot believe Brad prefers Dylan's toys over mine. You would get heated. I mean, that basically show you how hardcore of a.
I don't know nothing about these, boy. I'm not bringing my toys around none of you heathens, gang. I'm sorry.
Fan you were back then. Me myself, I ended up getting some really rare ones in the Majin Buu arc. So kids would be looking at me and be like, wait, how did you get that? I'm like, haha, I'm not telling you. When I tell you that Dragon Ball was everywhere, guys, you had them in Happy Meal toys, basically, clothing. I mean, Burger King had these awesome Dragon Ball toys that I think there were around like 2 lines that they did. One of them was very focused on the movie section that had like the figures. I think you had Cooler, Android 13. I think Goku's hair would light up if you pressed the button.
If I had a Krillin toy, bro, oh my god, bro, my life would have been set as a kid, dog. Who is that? I don't know. That ain't Goku, big bro. That ain't Goku. I ain't never had what is this? He said a Burger King collab. I ain't never had. I don't know. That's the Kakarot. That's Carrot for real.
Back, almost simulating like Super Saiyan. But I think the really cool one that a lot of people loved, and so did I, were these statue looking figures in a sense. They were sometimes bronze or silver, and they would have a trading card in the back. Those are freaking awesome. Now in the era that I was growing up, in potato chips, like bags of Frito-Lay and stuff, we would have prizes inside of them. There would be like a little ribbon in the middle of the potato chip bag. It would have things called pogs.
I used to bring those to my mom. She did not give a damn about what type of character was on the bag. She said, put it back now. I said, oh.
I think that's how you say it. Or tazos. That's in Spanish. And these things were basically plastic or metal circular little objects that would have the images of characters, and you can play with them while either like throwing them against each other, snapping them together. The funny thing is that my mom and I, when we would go to stores, we would actually like feel the bag around, and sometimes we'd be lucky to feel 2 of them in there. Unfortunately, I ended up almost losing all of them except for these last 3 that I have. It's a neat little relic, you can say, in the early 2000s of Dragon Ball. There were also sticker albums, which are really awesome to collect. Now, of course, the toys in Dragon Balls were awesome. We obviously had some derpy looking ones, of course, but there were multiple companies. I think Irwin Toys is the biggest one that I remember doing it. They were very creative with the toys back then.
Super Saiyan power be enough this time. Gohan's in danger until Team Dragon Ball Z joins the fight.
Oh my god, what the...
The hype was so real back then that I even had a birthday cake of Dragon Ball Z. And my favorite character back then was Gohan. So I always wanted the Gohan little piece right there. Because, you know, as a kid, you know, that's the character that you relate to the most. I mean, you see Gohan, he's your age. It's like, Come on, man. And then of course there were
Oh
these.
God, yo, my favorite characters: Gohan, Vegeta, Krillin. I mess with Piccolo, obviously, but I mess with Goku on the same level. It's like the rest of the characters I mess with are on that same level, so it's like it's not even worth mentioning. Gohan, Krillin, Vegeta. Oh, me to this day.
Little plug and plays. However, the big thing was,
Oh my! Don't even get me started on the games, boy. If we talk about the games, boy, don't talk about the games, boy. I was like 6 years old, boy. Walking to a family video, boy. I seen this game right here, Dragon Ball Z Budokai. But at the time, my mom wasn't allowing me to play rated T games. So I had to grab the game off the joint. I had to plot with my brother. I said, oh, we going home with this horror, right? So let's build a script so to tell to our mom so we go do this and get this game, right? So we plotted out the script. Boom. We walked over there, laid out the script, begged a little bit. He said, fine, let's go. First rated T game, first introduction to Dragon Ball right here. This Budokai right here. Fire, fuego, eat. I don't think I had two. I might have had two. Definitely had this one. Boy, if you don't know, Dragon Ball Z Saga. This is low-key one of the greatest Dragon Ball games of all time. I don't care what you're talking about. I really don't care what you're talking about. I really don't care what you're talking about. Then the Budokai Tenkaichis. Oh my God,
the
bro.
PS2 games.
You don't
to
understand.
Fighting games, to action adventures, to RPGs. It was just everywhere.
Oh my God, the handheld joints went stupid. Oh.
Play Dragon Ball Z on the go? Well, go ahead and pop in like.
What was this game called? Bro, this fight was annoying, bro. Why was Raditz always annoying to fight, bro? Why they always made Raditz some like what? Like what?
I guess Goku 1, 2, and Boost Fury. But the main thing, it was the Budokai franchise. It was the first time, remember, because we didn't have
I was straight boxing on this game, dog. Oh my God. Yo, you don't understand, dog.
Like that. The game was our way to basically, in a sense, experience the show all over again. And
mind you, you talk about experience show over again. Every single one of them games he laid out right here, wherever he laid them out, boy, every single one of these games ran you from Saiyan Saga through Boo. I said, what the? Not every single one of them, obviously. Budokai 1 probably ran you through the Saiyan Saga, maybe. And then 2 and 3, obviously, the story extended. But it's like it will always start you at the beginning of the series and you have to go through the whole thing, which I did not mind as a kid, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really care. Like, it was fire. But I'm just saying, I'm like, golly, they ran it up.
Had it from the Budokai 1, which went to the Cell arc, and then Budokai 2 all the way to the Boost Saga, and Budokai 3 expanding on movie sections and adding GT in there. I mean, and this was the game to play, man. Like,
bro, Gogeta. You don't understand, bro. Bro, I was watching. Ooh, that's crazy pause. I had GT on disc. There's a time we didn't have cable. I was running that hoe back. Running it. It was GT. It was the Looney Tunes where they was like kids, and then the Rugrats movie. Running them hoes on repeat.
Everybody was playing this crap. It was awesome. I mean, unlocking the characters, listening to that awesome soundtrack. And then what about the clashing? How many of us lost the thumbsticks in those PS2 controllers? I remember having swords all over my hands. That crap would hurt, man. But man, the best moment was later on the 2000s was the Tenkaichi era. You could fight giants. You had an insane roster, what-if battles. And it was the first time that actually a game made you feel like you were in the Dragon Ball world. I mean, that shit was crazy, guys. Now, Tenkaichi is basically the one that I played.
And this is so crazy. If this game came out today, we seen what would happen if this game came out today. It's called Sparking Zero, and y'all ruined it. Games in today's era, bro. Gaming will never be the same just because you got tryhards that just immediately go to YouTube before even trying to figure out the game, bro. I'm one of those people. I'm just trying to, put the sticks in my hand. I don't even need a tutorial, none of that. I'll figure it out. Y'all don't move like that, and it's sad.
The most out of the entire Dragon Ball game, especially number 3. I always thought number 2 had the best story though, but Budokai Tenkaichi 3, it was just way more polished. Me and my dad would play that game for hours. was also some games that came around that Dragon Ball Budokai and the Tenkaichi era. They were almost similar to like spin-offs, you could say. You had Dragon Ball Z Sagas, that it was actually the first Dragon Ball game that came out on the Xbox console, because, you know, back then I actually had an Xbox for
this whole was co-op. This whole was co-op. That's why it was so gas, bro. It was co-op. You was literally flying through from place to place, boss fights, fighting little grunts, bro. Man, you could transform.
Until
Look
Budokai
at the
Tenkaichi 2
oh my
came
god,
out.
you could upgrade it. Man.
So I mostly was able to play this through my cousin's house because he had all the Budokai games. And then there was this other underrated game where a lot of people don't really talk about it.
And then they want to make Kakarot. Like, Kakarot is cool. Like, Kakarot is cool. It's great. You know what I'm saying? Fantastic. I understand. Especially for the newer generation who may have not experienced these games in the back of the day, right? Or know anything about the Dragon Ball universe, right? But geez, if you just made Kakarot co-op, I'm opening my wallet endlessly. You could have just made Kakarot co-op and make it go from the start of the Saiyan Saga to the end of the Saiyan Saga. And guess what I would have did? I would have opened my wallet for Cell Saga DLC. I would open my wallet for Frieza Saga DLC. I would have opened my wallet for Buu Saga DLC, for GT DLC, for Super DLC, for Diamond DLC. I would have opened my wallet for all of it had Kakarot been co-op. Oh my god, bro. I'm not gonna say it's a missed opportunity because Kakarot is obviously still a really good game, but like, shoot.
It's called Super Dragon Ball Z. Pretty cool game. It's just, unfortunately, it really was kind of just buried in the shadows when, you know, the other games came out. Now, this being Dragon Ball Z, we know that it is prone to having multiple versions of physical media releases. We had the VHS tapes that only brought 3 episodes, mind you, and there was also an uncut version of these, which basically showed, you know, like the extra blood in the show. That same formula was replicated on the DVD sets. I ended up only having like some of the VHSs for the Kid Buu section because at the time, Dragon Ball Z, right when Vegeta did the final explosion against Majin Buu, there was some rerun issues that were happening throughout that time. And so me and my dad would go to the store. It was the first time that we saw the VHS of Dragon Ball Z. And
$50
the first
for Dragon
image
Ball
I
Z.
saw was Evil Buu choking Majin Buu. And I was like, wait, what is that? So me and my dad ended up getting the entire Kid Buu little saga, you can kind of say. And aside from that, those VHS tapes had this really awesome spine like artwork collection that you can do once you pair them together. But it wasn't until Funimation later released the orange breaks of Dragon Ball Z. Now that said, while a lot of people deem it as one of the worst ones ever, the main drawback was that, of course, it was set as the new widescreen format. Watching it on 16:9, that didn't really make sense because Dragon Ball Z wasn't a 4:3 film aspect ratio. So the show, basically what they did was zoom it in and in a sense crop it. And a lot of times you would be seeing mouths that would be cut up or some eyes that would kind of take away from the scene. It wasn't anything too crazy, but when you really were paying attention, you can kind of notice. But the set was really cool.
I didn't give a about none of that, boy. I was just watching the show. Boy, what?
It brought a little booklet in there, some episode guides, character breakdowns.
Promise
it was
you,
a
I
nice
did
set.
not
And
notice
again, one
the
of the cool
difference
things
ever.
about it was they actually did release these breaks for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT. And when you put them all together, it does look like a really nice set piece in your collection. Of course, the other set after the orange break
That just threw me off because his face was long as a bitch right here. What?
was the Dragon boxes. And for a lot of Dragon Ball fans, this is the definitive way to own the series. It was not in 16:9, it was in its original 4:3 aspect ratio. It came in this really premium finish, but if you grew up in the 2000s and were watching it in the Toonami era, it didn't bring the Bruce Falconer song and instead had the Japanese Kikuchi score, which from somebody that watched Dragon Ball Z in the Toonami era, it was really weird. I was never really used to that. I didn't grow up with watching that. I really wouldn't call it the definitive version. To be fully honest, it really isn't one at all. Even though times have changed, that magic of Dragon Ball is gonna basically live forever. You know, it's gonna get a little
Box sets and stuff. I would always go in Walmart and see him, but like I was getting that hell out the mud. I never had the box sets.
sad here a little bit, but there will be a time that we won't be able to find out what Goku's next adventure is. You know, it's almost like a hero's legacy in a sense from Dragon Ball GT. You know, we had our moment in there, and I guess the next great adventure, the new generation will watch it. I mean, who knows really, unless, you know, we freaking get hit with a meteor or something and we all go down at the same time. But hey, and if you guys enjoy these type of
Dragon
videos,
Ball
that
will
we take a
literally
look back
never
at
die,
certain
bro.
eras, movies, video games, or just pop culture in general, go ahead and check out the rest of the channel. And like Master
bet.
Roshi says, work hard, study well, eat and sleep plenty, because that is the Turtle Hermit way.
Yeah, tough. Yo, I really enjoyed this video. This video is fire, bro. Shout out to Cypher Knight, bro. He went stupid on this, bro.